Now they have a leadership of 2, and I've changed that rule because I said up until today that if you've got a leadership of 2, you've got to get less. It didn't work. So now what I'm saying is you've got to get your leadership or less. So now they've got to get a 1 or a 2 to pass. They passed, which means I can do what I want. And what I want, there are 2 militia in that plantation building, and they're both going to shoot out the windows, 1 out of each section of the building. So this is the first section over here. He missed and he fumbles because black powder weapons are bad, notoriously difficult and unreliable. So the chap in there's got a problem and he misses. Also, in a building, there's a chance of a random fire. So if this is a 6, there's a random fire. No, if this is a 6, it's a random fire. Oh, it's going wrong. Okay, we can sort of deal with that early on. So we now throw a d6 for how bad the fire is. It's a 5. So there is a fire, it's a 5. And we need to put a fumble on him. And I'm going to take the lid off there. Save messing about for a little while. Now inside there are 2 house servants, and I think they are going to be ordered to put the fire out. So they are going to throw 2d6. If it adds up to more than 5, they put the fire out. Doesn't add up to more than 5, it adds up to 5. So that means they haven't quite extinguished the fire. So I'm just going to put a little bit of smoke in there next to them, because what they've done is they've got the fire back down. If they'd failed and there was still fire, next time the fire would have grown to a D10 and then a D20 and so on until it got slowly out of control, and they'd only be throwing D6s to try and control it. They nearly got it out, but not quite. So it's sort of hot embers, but they can't afford to ignore it. So they're going to have to tackle it again. But it's only going to be growing on a D6. So that was the shots there. So I've done a few things since I went to move the militia. The militia, it's just interesting, they all move randomly south, southwest. So they're all heading towards this plantation where the factory area, where the bulk of the fighting has been taking place. It's all been a bit crazy. Then the slaves went and failed their leadership. But when I threw on the table, I got a 1, which is stand and shoot at nearest enemy. But none of them are armed, so they're just going to stand. And then finally, Sapellum Cardu's card came out. And Sapellum has taken 1 of his turns to move there, and he's taken the second one to have a shot at the French regular, and he missed. So which is why he's got the smoke on. It's now the turn of the French regulars. No event came out. The French regulars are down to 3 men. They can only afford to, well, if you lose 1 more, they're going to leave. So I think the best bet is to take 1 turn, to do that. And they don't have enough troops now to form a firing line. So they're going to fire over the wall. And without any, if they fired sort of at Pelham or the men on the beach, that'd be a tricky shot because the wall is head high. It'd be an odd shot for them. But sailor who's gone on to the dunes to get the loot is standing out like a sore thumb. So all three are going to shoot at him, 5 and 6. And if one of them's hit him, and one of them is having a fumble, and the one that's fumbled is that one. Misfire, fumble, call it what you will. The lad in the dunes gets 1 dice as a natural save, and he is in the dunes, so that might offer him some protection. So he gets 2 dice, he needs a 6. He hasn't got a 6, he's been shot. So much for going for the loot. That'll teach him. Keep your head down, lad. There's no event now on the next card, which is the Pirates of the Black Dog. The Pirates of the Black Dog looted the church very successfully, but because of the way I used to do leadership, and I'd given their officers the command over the pirates, the actual pirates have a leadership of 4, but I'd put characters in charge and they only have leaderships of 3. So because of the way I used to do it, the leaders needed 1s and 2s. Now the leaders needs 1, 2 and a 3. So the first leader over in the corner is Akhtar al-Bab, and Akhtar needs a 3 and he fails, he got a 6. So on the chart that tells me carrying their own loot, and I think the most sensible thing would be that they simply break the loot open and steal it. I'm not carrying all these boxes. I'll have a look what's inside them. So I have a chart for that, and I'm going to tell you what they find. I cannot emphasise too strongly that these charts are all made up. And what I did for this scenario, I wrote down all the different types of building, from slave hovels right through to the plantation owner and the church. This loot's all come from the church, so I'm assuming it's going to be a better class of loot than if you'd looted it from a slave's house. So from the church, there are 4 of them. So let's throw 4 dice rather than doing 1 at a time. Get rid of that. 4 dice. 3 of the boxes have got thin, poor quality altar cloths, and 1 of the boxes is full of Latin service books and religious records like births, marriages and deaths. I suspect at that point they'd say, what are we carrying these for? And they dump them all over the ground and forget the loot completely. Because that, I'm not carrying that. You must think I'm mental. Now, the other leader is Mary Bonny. She needs a 1, 2 or a 3. She fails. She doesn't get 1, 2 or 3. It's becoming a recurrent theme. 2. Okay. Well, they have no loot. They have nobody to violate. I think they're going to set fire to the church. Yeah, they are. They're going to set fire to the church. Nana's too. We've had enough of that. So they gather around the church there and say, we'll set it on fire then. And looking at rules like games such as Pillage that I've been playing, first move you need a 6, and then a 5, and then a 4, and so on. So first move, and you don't use all of them in my rules, just 1 of them. So I need a 6. No. But what I shall do, I'll put a little bit of smoke there. Not because it's on fire, but to remind myself that that's what we're trying to do. And I shall put a green 5 there to tell me that that's what I need next time. Just as an aid, a memoir, if I'm being posh. And you know me, posh sort of lad. There's no event. And read. Now Anne is the second in command, and she's over there with Sir Pelham. And so Annie has jumped over the wall, which was a -6, but she has a move of 8. She then used the second part of her move to get to the side of the French regulars, and she fired her pistol at close quarters, hitting with the 6. The French soldier died, reducing the French regulars down to 2, which means they are no longer an effective unit, and they leave the board. No events have come out, but a card came out to rally, although no one was retreating, and a card came out to reload. So everyone who had smoke took it off instantly. Now the next card to come out has been the plantation owner's family, who are in the buildings in front of us that are on fire. And the way I work the rules is every time a card comes out that affects the buildings, we retest for fire. So first of all, I throw a d6 for the fire, a 6. And there are 2 characters trying to put the fire out. A lot. The fire is out. Job done. Well done. That's that done. Now these horrible pirates are trying to break in the front, and they know they're there. There's been shooting and noise and screaming and all sorts going on. So I think, despite the fact there are pirates at the back, they're going to have to come out. And they do this by throwing a d6 for how many can exit. 5 can exit through this door. He's putting fire. Oh no, they've got the strong. These have got the money. So it's going to be 1, 2, woman with a baby, 3, another woman, 4, and a small child, 5. That's it. And then running from the kitchens into the main house is going to be 5. Women and children first. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the most trusted of the slaves, the food taster, 5. So that was that. Next card to come out, generates an event. And the event is a 2, lucky find. Buoyed by a lucky find, a single figure may have a special shot. And this card goes to the scum of the black dog, who are here outside. And so in the mayhem outside, we're looking for potential lucky finds. So I throw a d6, see which table this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I throw a d6, which that is a 5. Ah, it's a posh handkerchief with embroidered initials. So one of these chaps finds a posh handkerchief with embroidered initials, which is very impressive. But it buoys him up. So what they're going to do, there's 2 of them there trying to smash the door in. There are no slaves or anybody trying to stop them, so they're just going to burst in. That's their first action. Their second action is going to be to shoot. He misses. Crack. The second one, he hits, and the man he shoots saves, but buoyed by the finding of his embroidered handkerchief, he gets an extra shot and he misses. But now, because he's had 3 shots, he risks causing 3 accidental fires, though he doesn't cause any accidental fires. There are 2 men out there who can see through the windows. They're going to take shots. One's a hit. He's dead. That's the militiaman. Killed before he could reload. Chance of causing 2 accidental fires at the windows. No. 2 shots here. No, and they both have black powder issues. They both could cause fires, but they don't. Well, that's all turning a bit chaotic. I mean, the scum could try climb on the roof, but that's giving them an order, really, that they might refuse. And at the moment, they're quite happy because all of the refuse orders on the random table would be move, attack, which is what I want them to do. So it doesn't matter if they fail. I'm going to leave them alone, because if I start asking them to do things, I might end up with an argument. And I'm not arguing with my own crew. That's not on. The other thing here is a militiaman was killed. So that would be a morale test. Any man gets killed, that's a morale test. But it's only men of the same unit or type within 6 inches. And there aren't any. He was the only one and he's been killed. And so that doesn't apply. There's nothing to do there. A few things have happened. Father Bellows, his card came out. He passed his leadership. He's used both of his moves to go racing down the beach towards the wounded men. See if he can help. Immediately afterwards, Dr. Samuel Snippett's card came out, and I thought, oh great, he's going to run across and treat the wounded men. But he failed leadership, and he has stayed in the dunes cowering, which is where he's been ever since that we've landed. Now the next card to come out was Abdul Kazim, the hero. He takes no leadership test, but he did get an event. Now the event was a 7 bravado, which means he can take 3 moves instead of the normal 2. So he's not going to fail because he's a hero. So heroically, he's going to 1 move to get on the roof. 1. But he's good. He's doing an Errol Flynn. He's going to run across the roof and jump down. That'll be 2. And then he's going to take a penalty out of his move of 8. Takes a penalty of 5. So he moves 2. He's got 6 left. Takes a penalty of 5. Leaves him 1. He gets there, and pretty much he's going to say to that so-called leader, surrounded by discarded handkerchiefs, loot, altar cloths and prayer books, what are you up to? And he's also within 6 inches now of those, which puts him in control of them, and he is going to take command because he is heroic. Hurrah! Thank goodness, somebody with a brain. This is the final card, so this must be end turn. First card out, Anne Reid. Fortunately, she reloaded earlier, and she has a nice shot along the wall at a militiaman she can see. So she'll take a shot. And she, with her black powder weapon, has to add that. She threw a 1. Dratsky. So we know that Abdul passes leadership because he's a hero. And we know now that he's taken command of the pirates. So he will get the pirates to do what they were originally ordered to do during the night when Sir Pelham ordered them ashore, which is to come back, having raided the church, to the ship. They've got a -1 crossing the wall, so they would normally go, it's going to go 5, follow me, okay. Leave all that rubbish behind. There's nothing there they want. So there are a number of plantation militiamen, but they are not within 6 inches of each other. So there's one random one there. He needs a 1 or a 2. Yeah, he does. He needs a 1 or a 2. So he's going to have a shot at Anne because she shot at him. He needs a 5 or a 6. So we'll put some smoke on him. There are 2 militiamen over there. They can work together. Need 1s or 2s? No. On the chart they get a 5. A 5 is shoot and reload, but they've got nothing to shoot at, sadly. So they can't do anything. And it says, in the absence of being able to do what the thing tells you, don't do anything. So they just stand there looking bewildered. And then there are 3 militiamen, the middle of which is their officer. Needs a 1 or a 2. No. And then on the chart, they get a 5. That is now applicable because it's a shot. Stand, shoot, reload. So I don't need to put smoke on. So this man is going to shoot at Annie there. He's 5 or 6. Nope. But he shoots, smoke, reloads. The man next to him, the officer, has, I'm looking to see if he's got a pistol. Yes, he has. He's got a pistol, but that's a long way for a pistol, so he needs a 6. Nope, but he reloads. I think he has line of sight. No, maybe not. No, I don't think he has line of sight. So what I'm going to do, and I do this a lot. Red's higher, he has a line of sight. Green's higher, he doesn't. It's a draw, of course. Red's higher, he has. He hasn't. No line of sight. It's always a good way of resolving any disputes in a game. If you don't know what to do, throw a dice. Let the gods decide. This is the plantation owner. He's with his family. He has a leadership of 2. That they threw really badly, this lot. But I've thrown 1. And so the plantation owner, his wife and his mother escaped through the back door, leaving a lot of people behind. I've removed the sailors of the Black Dog because after the man in the sand dunes was shot going for the loot, there were only 2 left. And I didn't realise. And when I went to get their card and I looked, there were only 2. So they've left. They've gone. Then the other thing that's happened now is the pirates have come out. And looking right in front of them is a massive, juicy conglomerate of plantation owners with their rich, fancy cloaks and slaves. So guess what? Abdul's with them. He's a hero. So he's going to order them to attack, and the rule is women and children are taken hostage, so he initially has to be 1-to-1. It's going to change when it comes to escorting, but at the moment that's 1-to-1. They've got 2 moves, remember. This is the first one. He takes him. Now, a man under arms they will kill. So now we need to know how brave that fella is. So let's have a look. This is what he says. He is nonplussed, so he will be taken. That's not any sort of an expression to care about, is it? 6 puts, yeah. Sort of gets through that gap. These are all going to come following on. The other pirates behind pay a penalty to get over the wall. They're going to come over the wall, and the lady there that winked at them on the way through the woods, they are going to take with them back to my secret island. So that's my first move. Second action is slightly different. So people who have been enslaved, you throw a d6. That means each pirate can take 3 prisoners. So this man will take her. Don't know if she knows yet, but she's in it for a much better life. And then he can take 3. So they've got 1 and 2, which means he can now take her. 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 Now we can't barge through that crowd. So he is going to there, and you have to have at least an inch to shoot through. You can't, not very good at aiming these weapons. So there's no gap for those lads who are now through, which interestingly is the bookkeeper and the slave who carries all the gold. So they're legging it. they're well away. They're not happy. They see the way the wind's blowing, and they're going to say, you know what, I'll see you in a bit. There's no event. Everyone gets to reload. So anyone with smoke on, for now, take it off. And anyone who's got no smoke, but has a reload ring, that can also come off. They can't have both come off. They can only do one reload type action. So that was reload. No event. No event. Dr. Snippet. Dr. Snippet needs a 3 or less. He got a 5. He's failed again. And he decides he can't shoot and reload because he's unarmed. So for about the 6th move in a row, he stays in the sand dunes. I'm beginning to see a pattern with him. So it's the scum of the black dog with no event. The only people in there now are slaves. So they're going to take them. They're not men under arms. One's carrying a bowl of fruit and one's got a sweeping brush. And now there's loot in there, so let's go in there. 1. No, we will. Yeah, we will. There's a door. So I don't know. I'm going through. There's no door. Yeah, there is a door. And there's even more loot. So let's keep going. I'm piling up at that window, and there's no way in. So 6. That's an event. So a D20. 17. That sounds a bit familiar. 17. Oh no. Dense vegetation, crumbling masonry. Anyone crossing difficult terrain has a +2 D6 penalty. So the card is for the slaves. So any slaves crossing difficult terrain are going to have a penalty. But none of them are. And the only one I can see is the one carrying the strongbox, because all the rest have been captured, or they're hiding. And so, I've just seen one up there. So, the one with the strongbox, he needs a 1 or a 2. Nope. So he now throws a 4. He moves a random direction. 1d6, 2. Yeah. Obviously the blind panic, and he's fled west. 2. Pushed his way through all that rabble and managed to get himself captured. Perhaps it's deliberate. Maybe he just thought, you know what? I don't want to be here. I've got better things to do. They look alright, them pirates. Shoot and reload, can't stand still. Oh, that's quite interesting, really, I suppose. He gave himself up. He's the one carrying the... See if I can zoom in on him. He's the one carrying the box full of overseas gold. And the man in front of him was the bookkeeper with all of the ledgers. The event test. And then they pass leadership. The event is 12. A barrel explodes. Oh no. I've got to find a barrel. Have a look round. Is there any random barrels? Oh no, yeah, there's one there. And it hits everyone within 3 inches. And everyone within 3 inches in there is everybody. Adding 10 to their injury dice, assuming they even get out of there. And there are 2, 4, 6, 7 of them. So there are 7 of them in there. We know they're all hit. This is going to be bad. So they need 6s to save, to even stagger out the building. They might even be on fire, I don't know. 2. Okay, so there's 7. So it's definitely not going to be one of them. This is where we're going to start. Start at 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. We start in there. So he's 1, staggers out. That's the door. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And him. They're the 2 that get out. Well, the battle has come to a pretty horrific end. After the plantation house exploded, only 2 people staggered burning from the wreckage, both of whom then fell to the ground dead. So there were no survivors from that. 9 people killed altogether. Some militia, a lot of pirates, a lot of scummy people, a lot of slaves. It was bad. The scum that were left failed morale and ran in a random direction, which is taking them east towards Sir Pelham. Coincidence? I think not. On the beach, Sir Pelham, Father Bellows, Annie, the cabin boy, and eventually Samuel Snippet, the doctor, are going to remove the injured sailors in the hope that when we get them to shore, a bit like you do in Stargrave and Frostgrave, course base, 5 parsecs, you then check for injuries, and hopefully they will, some of them, be able to continue without me having to spend vast amounts of money replacing my crew, because this was nothing like the plan. Over here, the militia have actually finally got themselves into a bit of order. Their officer has come up and they've taken that wall and, in their mind, driven the pirates out. Over in the far distance, the genuine pirates of the Black Dog have done a super job. And they are coming back with oodles of humanity in the form of slaves, and the plantation owner, and all of his gold, and his wife, and his mother. Now we think that might be worth a pretty penny. That may well compensate us. In the meantime, the bookkeeper, the overseer, they've all stayed safe, because basically they just kept out of the way and hid the church has lost two of its priests and all of its bits, but its bits turned out to be not much more than Latin prayer books. If there was anything good in there, we didn't find it. And that's the end. That's the end of the game. So if this tickles your fancy, fantastic. Remember, I'm making it up. So make your own up. And at the end, I'm going to leave sort of a shot of the burning plantation as people flee. And I'm going to say, ta-ra, Chuck.